All right. Uh, Welcome everyone. Yeah, for the ones that are watching us on YouTube, this is Xavi. We have here Mick. Thanks, Mick, for joining me today. Yeah, today the podcast is basically I have for the ones that are watching us on YouTube. I have a podcast about conversational AI. It's called Voz Tech in Spain, in Spanish. In English, it's Voice Tech. And today we are gonna start with the third session. So far, we have made around 28, 30 episodes, and yeah, today is basically the beginning of the third session. The third session, yeah, with the first episode. And yeah, we are at the Developers Created an Online Community Summit, which is really great, awesome experience so far. And and yeah, we have Mick. Mick, if you want to introduce yourself.
Yeah, sure. So, yeah, my name is Mikaeli. You can call me Mika. And I'm from Brazil. I'm an AI and machine learning leader at CNT. As a company that has headquarters in Brazil, and we have a lot of people abroad as well in the world. And I'm also a content creator at Explica Me, where I try to explain better in a more easier way, the topics about machine learning, data science, and artificial intelligence. I'm doing my master's degree as well in the artificial intelligence field, and I believe that's it. I just learned to cycle to be able to cycle here in Singapore, and it's been a journey in AI mainly this past 2 years, right? With a lot of people accessing this technology and it being democratized, right? So yeah, that's it.
That's really great. Yeah, I mean, and I think both of us are good developer expert in AI, in ML,
Yes, we are Google developer experts in machine learning.
in machine
We are
learning.
attending here the developer creators at Singapore, the Singapore office from Google. So it's very, very exciting to be here and record this podcast to explore this subject, right?
Yeah. No, that's great. And the work that you are doing, like teaching AI, ML to everyone and creating content about that, I think that's really valuable because, for the ones that we are in the field, we know that it's not something easy. It's not like, like trying to learn programming itself, like how to write a for loop, how to,
Yes.
build these kind of things that are like more deeper things is like a lot of mathematics, a lot of, So, yeah, great job on that. Great job on that. In Spain, we have another content creators that are doing the same, and we are seeing the value of that. Like there are a lot of people learning AI, just thanks to people like you. So it's really great. And today, as we said, we are in the Developer Creators and Online Community Summit, and like Gen AI, is all around. As we saw in Google I/O, Sundar Pichai was just talking about AI. There was a video. I think it was just 1 minute with all the times that Sundar Pichai said AI. It was just 1 minute. Sundar Pichai saying AI, 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 AI in his Google keynote pitch. So I want to start talking about Gen AI, and then since we are, talking about content creation, how Gen AI is gonna help or is helping nowadays, to create content. So, what is, Mika, for you, the generative AI, and how does it differ from other forms of artificial intelligence? Because we have seen a bunch of different models and a bunch of different models for everything. We have seen like natural language understanding. We have seen models for basically classifications for everything. And what is the main difference between like Gen AI models, like like Gemini, um, Claude, like Llama, all of them. What is the main difference between
Yeah,
them?
so when we talk about AI, we are more specifically speaking about the ability of any computational system to gather some data, like understanding, interpret external data that can be from the environment, stuff like this. Use this data to, after interpreting it, to take some action, like achieve a specific task, right? So it's more related to learn and then to be able to apply, to use this learning to achieve a specific task. So this is more about AI specifically. So it's a very generic way to explain the concept, and you can see that a lot of people, you're gonna see different aspects of AI. People that are gonna speak more about robotics, people are gonna speak more about deep learning, but this is the most common statement that we can go. And in order to achieve these objectives and tasks, you can go through analytical process, decision making, and predictive analysis. So this is more related to the predictive nature of AI. And then when you go to generative AI, so it's a specific branch inside AI specifically, where we're going to talk about content generation. We are going to go from images and text to video and audio. So we are discussing here the architectures when we call transformers, the architecture that generated or reinforced this generative AI branch. Why? Because it allowed us to be able to, okay, what is the next word that this sentence is gonna have to be finished,
Exactly.
So you're gonna predict this next word based on external data. So it relates to to AI, as we mentioned, but it's a different way because we are more related to using deep learning to have this architecture in place. And also we have huge architectures and a lot of data. So for example, in some specific tasks, when you are working with AI, you're not going to need that bunch of text that you for sure are going to need to train these Gen AI models. That's why when we talk about, oh, should I train my Gen AI model from scratch,
Yeah.
or I
fine
go
tune.
like to fine tune? So you that is maybe you are seeing us talking about these topics, you are already experiencing these models and trying to figure out, okay, what are the actions that I should take to get my data into this specific technology. So don't go with training from scratch, because you're going to spend like 6 months doing that, because there is a lot of data that you have to use, not to mention the infrastructure, right? Because we are not just talking about CPUs, but GPUs, and not just one, but multiple ones. And everyone is having, they have to use GPUs to train this model. So maybe you're not going to even have a GPU available for you to train your model. So to summarize, I would say like Gen AI is more focused on this specific part, like content generation. That's not just text. Even knowing that the majority of use cases that we're seeing right now, they are related to text generation, but it's not like that. It's not just that, as we're gonna talk today, because there are a lot of applications for images and so on and so forth.
No, I agree with you. Like, for instance, like even running a Gen AI model, like when you try to download Llama 2 and run that in your laptop, like that is not even training. Like it's just inferencing, and it is taking a lot of resources.
Yes.
And if you wanna, train, like for instance, like right now when we are talking about the technological barrier in terms of Gen AI is basically what you said, like the amount of GPUs and infrastructure that is required to train all these models, because all these models are basically trained using like billions and billions and billions and billions of data. And yeah, as you mentioned, like there are different models. There are models for different purposes. You have, for instance, if we talk about the Google GenAI models, we have Gemini, and for Gemini, um, and also Vertex AI, you can have like models for image generation, for music generation, and if we talk just about text, you have code generation. That I think that is the one. I'm not 100% sure, but I think that is the one that is running Duet AI, and just text itself. We have the Gemini and the Bison. Bison were the ones that were launched back in May for Palm API.
Yes, there's a
Now,
code Bison, the text Bison, chat
exactly,
Bison, so
that
different
one, that
flavors, right? Yeah.
exactly, and the one that you mentioned, the Chat Bison, is more for conversational AI. Basically, like that is the one that is behind Google Bard, for example, and it is specialized in managing conversations. So yeah, like there are bunch of models, like not only the ones that we mentioned, ChatGPT, OpenAI, Claude, Anthropic, Llama, Meta. There's a big movement right now and a big boom about the Gen AI. That's something that all of us we are seeing, and how like these Gen AI, all these models can be like beneficial for content creators, because right now here and in this summit we are seeing like a bunch of content creators, and there are like also there are like different ways of content creators, because you have like book authors, you have YouTube video content creators, podcasters like us, and not only like creating this kind of content, like for instance, like could be, I don't know, like artists, like creating music, creating I don't know, like like paints, like these kind of things. How can the Gen AI be specifically beneficial for content creators? And then we will talk about like all the steps in terms of like that content creation process.
Yeah, so generative AI offers a range of benefits when we talk about content creation. So let's take an example. You want to create a new video or create a new article, but you are stuck in the title or even about the topic that you're going to explore. So start from scratch is something that I also that I always say that takes a lot for us to start to get the flow, to start writing the things and to reach the point that you cannot even stop because you are so connected with what you're doing. But to reach this point, it takes a lot. And to reduce this time, what I see is that GenAI helps us like giving this idea or exploring some topics, giving you some suggestions. So what can you talk? What are the topics that are more interested for knowing that your audience, So I imagine that you can send some data from your YouTube channel, from your viewers, your audience. You can send like a CSV file that has the titles of your videos, the content that these videos have, and also the number of viewers, number of likes, and how was the engagement of these videos. So you can just send this document, and the GenAI field application can help you to interpret this data and also to generate the ideas. Okay, so knowing that, for instance, knowing that this video from February, you explored some topic that is more seasonal, maybe it's good for you to go to another direction, knowing that your engagement was not that good. as you thought that could be. So it can give you insights. AI could already have done this for you, not Gen AI specifically.
Yeah.
You have like a time series that could predict your next engagement based on some variables that are worth it for you. But and also you have other text models. NLP is playing a big role, not just from the 3 years back, but since you can see like Google Translate is an NLP application that has been available for us for so long. So what I could say is like you can get these ideas in place. You can write, so not just for give you the idea, but also to help you write this content. So
Yeah.
you can also like ask for like how can I summarize this big text that I wrote in an easier language because my audience has those characteristics. So like this, I would like to be more feasible for them. I would like for them to see the same way that I would like to receive this content. So it can change the language
Yeah.
properly to achieve your objectives. So I see like giving you some ideas, help you to write some blogs, some blog posts, and also to scripts for your YouTube channel. So this is just the beginning, right?
Yeah. No, and you're really, really right with that because when you are, for instance, like creating and writing a prompt, also, with all these Gen AI, there's a new role called prompt engineering,
Yes.
and there are a bunch of people working on just prompt engineering, which is amazing. When you are like creating your content, and for instance, like because you just design a Gen AI app right now, because the example that you did, like providing your feedback and like basically the context from your past, let's say YouTube videos, to the prompt, that's really, really, really important because with all your prompts, with all these, like when you are interacting with LLM, with large language model, like no matter which one you are using, if you provide a really, really good prompt, the output and then the outcome is gonna be really powerful. Because, for instance, let's say that you have like a video about XYZ technology that like you provide as a context of that prompt that was not really good, and then you have a video about another technology and you also provide in the context in the prompt that was at least better. Then the text generated, like let's say that you're asking for a script or you're asking for that, will be there somehow.
Yes.
The text will tell you for your next video. You are asking for ideas for the next video, will tell you, okay, so you can talk about this, but spend just 5 minutes talking about that, and then spend 15 minutes talking about the other technology, because we have seen that you have or you had more engagement in the past talking about this technology instead of that one. So that is pretty powerful, and you just designed that right now, I have to say. So yeah, like talking about this, the first step is in terms of Gen AI and like content creators, the phase, which is for me is one of the most important phases when you are like saying when you are creating your videos on YouTube, or in my case when I trying to create, for instance, like this podcast, or like when I'm writing an article, the ideation phase and the creation phase. In what ways can Gen AI assist? What do you did you try that?
Yeah, sure. So, for example, I like to create some drafts using Gen AI. So, for example, but even before the drafts, so let's go one step back. I want to create like my calendar of what are the contents that I'm gonna explore in the skill 1, for example.
Okay.
And then first of all, what are the topics that I want to explore? So with that in mind, I can simply go to this app, can be Bard, for example, and ask for knowing this topic. What are the contents give me 10 ideas of videos that I could produce that can help people, and then this audience goes here. Like, what is your audience? Helping this audience here to understand more about this topic. But this title should be like this, like that, and then you can help this model to understand your needs, because sometimes you get an answer that you don't like that much, but it's because you have not detailed properly your prompt with what is your desired output, right, from
Exactly.
this.
That's
So,
the prompt engineering task
yes.
there.
So you can use a lot of different techniques, and the context that you mentioned is very good on this part, very powerful, because you can get some of your past videos titles and put this in the prompt as some using RAG, the retrieval augmented generation techniques. You can use something very more fancy. So you can use like tree of thought, chain of thought, to help GenAI to reason on top of what you want to reach.
Exactly.
But you can go easier, like using the few shot prompting technique. You can say, like, for example, I want you to give me a title. So I will you put some questions, put some answers, and then with the next question, it will come, but already knowing how is your reasoning process, So this helps you to get a more similar response compared to what you're expecting. So this is just for giving some ideas.
Yeah.
And then when it comes to planning, what helps me as well is I already did it when they gave me the content and the body of the script of my video. I saw that it was pretty large and I wanted a shorter video. And what I did was, like, I gave okay, this video should be 10 minutes or less. And then I just sent the duration of the video, but it was able to make it shorter. So it knew that, okay, this content here that I just sent, it's very, very large and is not gonna, be able to be taught in this particular time stamp. So this is very, very interesting, right? So I don't know if you have faced this already or played with this scenarios.
I usually do that. For instance, when I wanna send like an email or something, not for content creation, but like by default, if you specify that you want an email, it usually creates like a long email, and like a very formal one, and I always have to like to tweak the prompt and say, okay, make this I don't know, like in 2 paragraphs, and make it more personal or less formal, and then the text generated is shorter. And another thing that you mentioned, and regarding to the like the app or idea of the GenAI app to help content creators, you mentioned RAG, the retrieve augmented generation, which is of course like more complex architecture, because it adds more value to the prompt by retrieving from a knowledge base, retrieves related content, because that information basically is stored in a vector database. And one thing that we can add to that vector database, to that knowledge base, to in the future like retrieve, is like the content itself that we have generated, like just not only, for instance, the titles of our YouTube videos, of our like our blog posts. We can put in those knowledge bases the transcript of our videos, the content itself of our blog post, and whenever we want to create something about some stuff, we can ask that, like that knowledge base, and give, like the the output of that query, and add that as a context of the prompt to generate a better script for our, for instance, next YouTube video, knowing that, for instance, like we can tell, okay, let's try to not repeat XYZ concept, because we have created, I don't know, like 5 videos about this, like, and we provide that information into the context, and having that in the knowledge base, I think that is
In fact,
really
it's a
valuable.
very good idea because, for example, you are feeding your database with your past content, if I
Exactly.
got you right, and then you are putting that in a vector DB somehow, right? You're turning your sentences in embeddings, right? Putting them in a vector DB, running a coefficient similarity just to find, do I can I talk about the specific part, or I have already, for example, talked about it in the past 3 months, for example,
Exactly.
right? Or explain some specific topic, or give me some topic that's different from what I already
And you
gave,
have,
right?
and you have the context of your past experience, basically, on
Yes,
in
this
your
is
online
very
journey.
powerful, and I believe that knowing that this powerful RAG applications, you can go further and explore even if you are already familiar with RAG, there is the agents part where what makes me very excited, because with the agents you have the tooling where we know that, for example, Gen AI is non-deterministic stuff, so you cannot actually rely on these outputs, because uh, it can we say that it hallucinates actually, but what it does, it generates the output, but it's not saying that it's gonna be deterministic at all. So
Exactly.
hallucination is a word that we use, but it never promised us that it would be factual, right? And then when we have to create some apps on top of this, you have to be sure that we are gonna give for your customers the data that's according to the references, the facts, right? Exactly. So you cannot rely just on GenAI. So that's when the agents comes to play, because we can, for example, get these tools that are gonna explore the web, they're gonna search the internet, get this data, and then GenAI can help you to wrap this content in a way that it's easier for the user to understand, is more user friendly, But AI in that sense is just playing the role of wrapping up.
Exactly.
But getting the data, getting the content, that's something that must be deterministic, okay? You cannot just imagine in some scenarios, right? But content creation, maybe you can be more imaginative. You can think in a creative sense of the things that they are not that factual, but some apps that you may create, you're gonna need to be very deterministic. So that's where you can use the agents to help you to
Yeah.
give this.
And I totally agree with you, because when the Gen AI arrived, and like ChatGPT arrived as well, and all the people were asking to ChatGPT XYZ things, there were things that were not true, and they were like taking that stuff, and it's like, no, it's because it's like, like ChatGPT told me this, and that's it, like that's the truth, and that's not true. Like, you have to double check the output, and to make sure that everything that you are reading is true, and also, like, make sure that it could be hallucinations, it could be things, of course. And again, like, talking about prompt engineering, you can have like a really, 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 really good prompt that, based on your LLM, could work well. But for instance, if you take the same prompt, and let's say that if you are yeah, like sending that prompt to, I don't know, like GPT-4, you are having like really good results. But if you copy paste that and send that to Claude 2, for instance, or Gemini, the results could be like completely different because there are different LLMs.
Yes, totally.
So yeah, that's really important, of course, as you said. And now that we're talking about content creation and all that stuff, I mean, it's not like that, like rigorous, like that strict, of course, because but for critical applications, we will have to be very careful with these kind of things, which I really agree.
And we talked about YouTube, like video, but if you want, for instance, create some content for Instagram or other platforms, you can also take advantage of this. For example, two of the use cases that I think AI applies to scenarios like this are, first, when I need some ideas to write a post on Instagram. Like I have the picture, but I don't have the corpus of the post, like the text. So I was like, oh my God, I want to say something more meaningful, but I don't have idea right now. And then I go to bar, to other platforms, and then I have this this push, like this first draft, and this helps me. I mean, okay, now I can proceed, because I have my own experience. So I think that the mix of humans together with AI is very powerful.
Yeah.
That's why, because AI does not have your experience, but you can like take advantage of these tools to be more efficient.
Exactly.
So I would spend more time, a lot of time actually thinking about a good way to express my emotion with this picture. But if I have AI to already give me an idea and I say, oh, okay, I don't want to go that way. So you can think about the worst scenario. Like imagine that AI gave you an idea that's not that good. You know already what to not talk about.
Yeah.
So and it makes you feel that it's easier to start. So
Yeah.
I really like that point.
And you know what? I am doing exactly the other way around. So I have, for instance,
Oh, really?
yeah, I have like let's say a blog post,
Uh-huh.
and I want to generate the thumbnail, or
Oh,
I
okay.
have a YouTube video and I want to generate the thumbnail. And what I usually do is go into, like to some different large language models that are generating images. And I gave basically as a prompt, like, create me a thumbnail for this blog post or for this YouTube video. And in this blog post or in this YouTube video, I am talking about that and about XYZ thing. And then it generates like 4 or 5 images, and I usually take them because in the past I was using like open source images and these kind of things to put that as a thumbnail, and I am using that for that. And the images that I use, I think they're pretty cool, and the ones that are being generated are really cool. So, because I know that there are a lot of people that when they are trying, like, or for us, like we are like technical people, we love to, or in my case, I love to write like technical blog posts. You like create YouTube videos, but when we talk about the marketing side of
You
things,
freeze.
exactly, we are not experts, we are not marketers, we don't know how to, I mean, probably we will know something about SEO, but
Copywriting.
exactly, but that we are not this kind of people. So I usually use that for that, and so far it's working nice for me. I mean, the images, at least I like it and I'm using them. So yeah, that's saving to me a bunch of time, basically. When we talk, one thing that I would love to ask you is, when we talk about collaboration and co-creation in terms of Gen AI, do you think that that could help or could improve, like the Gen AI could improve the collaboration between creators? How do you, or what are the ideas that you have in mind that could, like improve that? Because you can have your ideas, I can have my ideas. How can you use Gen AI to improve that cooperation?
Yeah, so I think collaboration is a very good point in terms of generative AI. And I will go a little a step back when I talk to collaboration, because in my work, for example, I use a lot of models, and some of those models are open source. So we start with collaboration since the beginning, right? Because I'm able to talk about AI today because someone shared a paper
Exactly.
that was for free, but took a lot for this person to learn, to understand what is a feasible way to share this very difficult topic that I just wrapped up for those people that want to learn it. So
And then the model is for free in Hugging Face that you
yeah,
can download
yeah.
it.
Yeah,
And
even
use
though
it.
that took long for me to understand the transformer architecture, but yeah, imagine if someone did not share this before. So how would I learn it? So collaboration in generative AI for me, it's powerful. It's like key, and I just um, talked about the paper scenario, but you have those models right now. So you have people sharing the weights of those models, and the weights are very important when you're going to talk about training models. And there is some platforms, for instance, Hugging Face, where you can play with the models, not just like get the model version there that someone from a university from the other side of the globe shared that has a lot of learnings from using this university. You can also play with those models there. So you have a lot of companies share some infrastructure goodies for you to test your models. You have universities sharing their research for you to understand better what is good and what is not for you.
Yeah.
You have some research on ethical aspects from Gen AI that are very important as well. So for me, collaboration is since the beginning and is like is the base of this area to be very clear on that. But
Yeah.
when you go to content creation, I believe that, for example, uh, one thing that's helping me a lot is to understand other application of Vision AI. So, for example, when I talked to someone here in this event is the case. So, I was explaining to some people that I use Vision AI, for example, to understand my video. So I can use some models that helps me to create some captions. And I could have done this with other models, not just Gen AI, but it's the way that's easy right now for us to apply this and build some apps. It's powerful, and this app building thing is very exciting because now you gave this tool, AI tool, for a lot of people that 1 year before they were afraid of AI.
Yeah.
So I don't know if you have this perception, but I feel that we moved from a phase where all the people were afraid of AI, and I'm not just
Yeah.
talking about people like you and me, but a whole organization, a lot of companies were afraid of AI, and now they can't wait to finish their strategies on how to apply AI for the next quarter, So
Exactly.
this is exciting, and for us that we are the technical people, we always think about some concerns, okay, but it's not AI in all of the scenarios. Sometimes it's just data, it's just analytics, it's just predictive modeling.
Exactly.
But it's
Exactly.
very powerful because we are able to help to address these issues, right? These
Yeah.
concerns.
Yeah. We were, I mean, depends on, like the, also for the jobs and all that stuff. Like I know that there were like more people working in different, like fields that were more scared or, like afraid of the Gen AI. But I think right now, all of us, like, we are, like, bringing Gen AI to our day to day, and we are seeing that in every single, like, whenever you open probably like any app, you will see a Gen AI something around that. That's 100%, and in the
Yes.
day-to-day basis. I do like what you have mentioned about open source and cooperation, because um, I really believe that open source is the way to go, and that is also what we have seen in the past with what you mentioned about papers and about, like, open source itself in terms of code, because we are where we are thanks to open source. Like all the things that like for instance when um, the Transformers bird that was, like, it was released as a paper, and it was, like, all from that was like the boom of AI in, like, in the past. And like everyone that is working on AI, and it is like creating papers, all those papers are shared, all the, like, the training data is shared, like the code, not every time, but, like, you can find the code that, like, that train that model. So yeah, like in general, like the biggest achievements in computer science and also in AI ML were thanks to open source, were thanks to all, like, researcher, individual contributors, and of course like the cooperation between them. And we should be like really thankful to have like that environment
Yes.
in the community itself. Because if you go, for instance, to the Discord of Hugging Face, you will see that cooperation, you will see all that stuff, which is really, 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 really important and really cool to see.
And I don't know if you had the same opinion as me, but this goes to the offline side of the thing as well. Like, for example, we have this collaboration in an online manner, but offline we have a lot of meetups that helps people to address this. So I went to a summit with Google. It was in Silicon Valley, and for me it was very interesting to see the environment there because it's very collaborative. So for example, I I went to some meetups where some founders and CTOs they were discussing about guardrails in AI to help us address some security concerns, not just security, but privacy concerns. So, and as I mentioned, I play a role where I'm a IML lead in my company. So we are building a platform called CNT Flow, where we try to see and how to give efficiency to the development cycle of a lot of different teams. So, for example, when you are breaking stories, you have uh, you have to run discovery. You have to have this item, but how can I break this very large epic in different stories for the team to start creating some tasks and start developing? So even if you are like a PO, you would spend a lot of time doing that, and you are gonna forget something important. And also, we are biased, right? So bias in content creation, bias in all of our tasks. So I was thinking, okay, I can use Gen AI. We created some maps, very, very interesting that we were able to see that the productivity gain was 50%. So very nice. Like you move from 5 sprints and you go to 2 sprints. So be able to test that made me feel like, okay, Gen AI is very, very powerful. And we are able to thrive using this technology.
Yeah.
But there are some concerns. So I cannot build some application that is going to help the end user without having the proper guardrails with that. Because as we know, it's not just about hallucination or giving an incorrect sentence. It's more like, okay, it can say something that is toxic or can have some harassment, something like this. So this is important for us to take into account, mainly if you are not just using as for your own benefit, but if you are building something that you're gonna have other customers working with that. So
Yeah.
in and out.
Exactly, exactly. Well, so I think that's it for today, Micah. Thank you very much for joining the podcast. I hope that all like the talk that we had today uh, help all the people that are watching us on YouTube and when we publish the podcast, specifically for all the content creators, because I think we bring a bunch of ideas about like how can Gen AI help content creators and how can we like make our day-to-day more productive and having like more ideas and like yeah. So yeah, thanks for joining me. Thanks for Google for having us in this developer creators and online community summit here in Singapore, and see you online.
See you. Thanks, Xavi.